Since 1970, these hands have held the hopes of millions of Australians and caught the imagination of the world. They've kept safe and sure the dignity and honour of a proud game and stumped the record books. These iron gloves have upheld the tradition of the baggy green cap and created the glorious legend that is Marshy.
Backers, you must love this, getting away from the pressures and demands of the game of cricket and having a wonderful game of golf. Must be great for you.
Yeah, it's great, KG. You know, you get out with the boys on a rest day or whatever and, you know, you completely relax, you have a lot of fun, you're with your teammates and occasionally you win an extra $1 or $2 during the season.
Backers, just talking about the game of cricket, what are some of your fondest memories of that magnificent Adelaide Oval?
Well, I got my first Test century there, which was a big thrill, and I remember hitting Ashley Mallett into the donut stand 3 balls in a row one time, and the last time it came back with sugar on. I remember hitting my old mate Lance Cairns over mid-wicket or square leg a couple of times, and I guess that the Adelaide Oval sort of suits my style of play because it's got such short boundaries on that on the square sides.
OK, backers, you need this putt for the money. Oh, how's that? Backers, it's true what they say, you never give up the fight.
Don't give up the fight, gotta keep on going with all your might. Try hard, don't stop, gotta keep on giving it all you got. Never give up, never say die. Believe that I can reach the top, gotta give it a shot. Don't say no, gotta get in the flow. So go seek, don't run away, get back on your feet. Get out, get up, get on, get moving out. And don't surrender, don't give up your fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome our very special guest of honour tonight, the one and only Rodney William Marsh, MBE. Well, Rodney, welcome to the program. And it's certainly been a long, long time. I can recall way back in 1970, 71, when someone tabbed you, the wicketkeeper, with iron gloves. How do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't feel too bad about it then because it was probably true. But, you know, these days I struggle a bit sometimes when I put one down and you've got the likes of Greg Chappell and Bruce Laird and anyone else that's willing to throw in their 2-bob bit by just saying clang when the ball hits the ground. So, you know, I guess I'll never ever live that one down, Ken.
Backers, did you ever dream, when you first began playing the game of cricket, that you would achieve what you have out of the game? Really?
No, I don't think you probably looked that far ahead, but I always dreamed of playing for Australia. And I think that's what every kid should do. I mean, if you play cricket, you've got to get to the highest level, and that is playing for Australia. And, you know, I've never ever been backward in coming forward in saying that. But, you know, from the time I ever heard Test cricket broadcast, I wanted to play for Australia, and I guess I was just one of the lucky ones.
Backers, that baggy green cap has meant a lot to you, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, it's something that you know, all young kids should aspire to, because I can promise you the times that we've had together as a bunch of cricketers.
Right.
You just can't buy those times, and no matter what else you do, you know, I just believe that it's the greatest thing I've ever done in my life, and that's play for the country.
Well, Bacchus, tonight is your night. We're going to have the pleasure of talking to some of the players you've played with, of course, played against, former players and present players, and they're going to give you heaps tonight. Really going to give you heaps.
That doesn't surprise me.
Our next special guest really needs no introduction to you. He's been classed, and quite rightly so, as the world's greatest ever fast bowler. A man who has taken something like 335 test wickets. A magnificent performance. Like Ian Chappell, a very fierce competitor. He's been involved in a number of controversial situations, but there's one thing that can be said about this man, and said quite honestly and quite sincerely, that whenever he wears that baggy green and gold cap of Australia, he gives 200%. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome our special guest, Dennis Lillee.
And what a good start. Lillee is struck coming in from the Stanley Street end. That really was a good delivery. Lillee to Yashpal Sharma.
Spinning back, it's gone, yes. The red colour. Dennis Lillee, what a bowler.
Dennis Lillee. And a bouncer, and there's a big appeal there for God behind. He's given him out. Yes, a little top edge. Dennis Lillee striking again.
Dennis, what's it been like having Rodney Marsh behind the stumps all these years?
Well, I mean, we've only had to watch a few of the dismissals there tonight to see that he's some guy behind the stumps. I think the best thing that you can say about him is that if you got a nick, you were pretty sure that 9, maybe 9.5 times out of 10, that he'd get gloves to it and catch it, and that's, you know, saying something.
Bacchus, have you put one down off DK at all?
Too many to remember, but in his defence, he's never ever called me much for doing it.
Nothing at all?
No.
Very
I've heard him call a few guys a few things, but...
They've under my breath.
Yeah. No,
Bacchus, is it true that whenever Dennis went to England, his big highlight was to meet the Queen? Her Majesty, should I say?
That's better. I mean, one of her daughters in the country at the moment. So, you've got to be a bit careful, don't you? Yeah, well, actually, you know, the first outing was, well, when we say outing to Buckingham Palace, it wasn't really our fault. It was probably part your fault and mostly Bob Massey's fault, because we cleaned up the Englishmen in less than 4 days, and on tea time at the 4th day we were supposed to have a visit from Her Majesty, and we finished the game at lunchtime, and Her Majesty decided there was no point coming to Lord's, it was empty, so she invited us around home.
To Buckpell.
Yeah.
Not a bad shack, is it?
No, it's not a bad shack at all, and you know, I really felt for Ray Steele, our manager then, and Fred Bennett, because I mean, we just won our first Test match Australia for something like 3 years, and it wasn't really an easy job to keep the blokes off the champagne and the beer and whatever else happened to be in fluid form. And we got around to Buckingham Palace at 5 o'clock, and unfortunately I was next in line to you when Ian was introducing Her Majesty. And you can tell the story, mate, I would never say what you said to her.
All I said was what any true-blooded Australian would say, g'day. Your Majesty. And then you doubled up on the floor next to me and made me look good.
Well, it didn't leave me in real good shape, did it, really?
You weren't that good a shape anyway beforehand. I think you consumed a few beers.
Dennis, what about the day you asked Her Majesty for her autograph? What did she actually say to you?
She said, well, not now, not in front of all these people, and I can understand that, but I mean, I wasn't really going to get a chance to have a drink with her at the Hilton afterwards, so I didn't think I'd get the chance to get the autograph, and luckily enough, and very proudly, I keep this autograph in my bar at home, and it was the actual photo of the incident, and she signed it and sent it to me, which was great.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm very, very thrilled about that. That's one autograph I rate very highly. In fact, I think it's about the only autograph I've still got.
Backers, what about being behind the stumps and you've seen your very good friend involved in some of the controversies that have happened on the ground, and we look at the Jabed Mirdad situation, we look at the aluminium bat situation. What was it like, first of all, the aluminium bat? You were obviously in the dressing room. How did you feel then?
Well, I'll take the whole blame for that.
You what?
I'll take the whole blame for it. I mean, I had nothing to do with the manufacture of the damn bat or anything like that. But I'll take the whole blame for the fact that he pitched it halfway across Perth when he did, because, I mean, he was quite, when he came off for the second time to change his bat on the captain's instructions, Greg said, you've just got to change your bat. So Dennis had proved his point. I mean, the sales had gone up immediately.
Actually, I've got to talk to you at the moment. You're using a bat that hasn't got, it's not all wood. So don't go saying too much.
Yeah. So when he came back for the second time to go back on the field, Greg said, look, you've just got to leave the bat here and take another one. I just said under my breath, as innocently as could be, you're not going to let them dictate to you, are you?
Actually, it wasn't quite those words, but it sounds great. He said to me, you're within the law. I wouldn't, if I was you, I wouldn't let them do that to you. I thought, well, if it's fair enough for him to say it and mean it, then I'll go back out again.
So I'll take the blame for that one. Yeah. Greg thanked me very much afterwards as well. It's pretty impressive, me.
What about some of the moments you've shared off the ground, Bacchus? Apart from the enjoyment on the ground, there must have been some wonderful moments off the ground between yourself and Dennis.
Yeah, obviously, you know, we're pretty close friends. We'd have to be having put up with each other for this long. And, you know, quite often, apart from on cricket tours and that, Dennis is, you know, probably a millionaire, I don't know, but he's got this beach house down south and, you know, a couple of 100 miles down south. And quite often he invites us as a family down there and we go down there and he teaches me how to fish.
Very difficult, I might add.
Yeah, well, I'm not the greatest of outdoor men. I mean,
Not the...
well, I'm not...
He asked me what end of the reel you use. I was holding the rod.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too good at those sort of things, but we've caught a few fish and we've had a few laughs and it's been terrific. And, you know, hopefully when we're both finished, we'll still be able to maintain the sort of relationship we've had over many years.
No, thanks very much, Rod, for giving us all many thrills, many laughs, and more than that, as Ian said, being an Australian and someone who is very, very proud of every team he plays in and never ever lets anyone down in the team or the team, and we all thank you very much for that. And good luck.
That's right.
Not only have you shown your ability with the gloves, but certainly at times you've played some great innings for Australia. Let's now have a look at some of those highlights with the bat.
Must be old footage.
Fine cover drive it off the mark. Mills the first. It beats him. Forward to Rodney Marsh.
It's hit straight down the ground. It's a beautiful shot by Marsh. It will carry, I should think. It's rolling away down towards the boundary, just underneath the side screen. Bob Willis comes steaming down and picks it up. Marsh turns for the fourth. Well, it's pretty clear that Rodney Marsh is not going to waste too much time in settling down there. He's been sent in. Throw that big bat of his around a bit. It was a good blow. Straight down the ground. You see Rodney Marsh so often play across the ball and try to hit it out towards mid-wicket. Square leg. It often seems to lead to his downfall, but when he plays straight, he usually makes pretty healthy contact. He's hit that in the air, straight over the top of the line, straight down towards the boundary. That ball's running away pretty quickly. Well fielded. A little scuffling down the boundary, and it's still, oh, they've kicked it over. Oh dear. Oh, John Wright's having a bit of a nightmare. That's down the ground, and Hadley, no, it's not, it's going to be into the middle, it's safe.
Ian Botham to Rodney Marsh.
Marsh has decided that attack is the best form of defence against those off-spinners, and he crashes both them straight down the ground.
I think the only way really to describe that shot is a club shot from Rodney Marsh. I think he middled it all out. Well, it's just the fact that he has such tremendous power. And the heavy bat that he uses, he clubbed it straight down the ground.
Good straight hit there from Rodney Marsh. Beautifully timed shot. And I like to see Rodney Marsh straight driving because I think that's when he's batting at his best.
Perhaps Jeff Thompson has done Australia a favour because he's certainly roused Rod Marsh into action. And he hits that ball very straight indeed, just by the side of the sight screen.
Marsh this time goes over mid-off, and that's a very good hit. Just a couple of bounces and into the mid-off fence.
It's a big hit. Graham Gooch is getting under it, but it clears the fence. It's 6 more. Well struck, Rodney Marsh.
It's a shot from the history books for Rodney Marsh.
Once again, Rodney Marsh lofting away to the outfield. A fine shot there as he gives himself a bit of room. Cuts it away on the offside. I think that Jeff Cook will be hoping that that rolls into the boundary. So 3 boundaries there to Rodney Marsh in that over.
One's wide, and what a great shot. Beautifully played that by Rod Marsh. My goodness, it was a little bit wide and slightly over-pitched, and that was smashed away to the square boundary for 4.
He's broke his bat, and he's picked up a single. Action plus at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And the blade just flies straight out of the handle. Rod Marsh can't work out what's going on. Lance Cairns nearly gets decapitated by the blade, flying back in his direction. And Dougie Walters is the only one who's really interested in the single. Lance Cairns almost got a caught and bowled. Or a run out. He nearly got a hand on it and knocked it onto the stumps. And Rodney Marsh reckons he can play him with a handle. I tell you what, they'll be asking for danger money soon, the players. More rest days and more danger money.
Get up, get on, get moving out. Don't surrender, don't give up the fight.
Tangles, it's great to have you down for Backers' testimonial dinner. What can you tell us about the little fella?
Well, KG, he's an unreal character, isn't he? Those little billiard table legs. He's a unique character and one of the great wicket keepers of all time, I think. But we've had a lot of fun. Remember back to that underarm incident on the MCG. Not a great day for Australian cricket, but afterwards we were to be involved in a cab ride up from Sydney back to the Wentworth Hotel. We get into a cab up there as perhaps the last English-speaking cab driver left in Sydney. I mean, yeah, the sort of fella.
That'd be a great ride.
Geez, it was. And they love a yap, don't they? Because he'd read his newspaper. He said, yeah, nice Ulster muscle down there in Melbourne. They must have been unbelievable. And he said, what are you blokes doing up here? You up here in business or pleasure? And back I said, well, sort of business and pleasure. Do another couple of blocks. He said, whereabouts are you blokes from? We said, oh, Western Australia. I said, from Victoria. And away he goes, he's driving along a bit more, and he said, what do? You've sort of, what's your business? And back, all sort of professional sports, would that be right, Tang? I said, I'm sitting in the back. He said, yeah, and straight away, looked at the back, he said, what sort of rugby team do you play for, mate? I said, well, actually, we're not rugby players, a professional cricketer. He said, who do you play for? Back, he said, Western Australia, and I said, Victoria and Australia, and straight away the penny dropped. I mean, he wasn't a dummy, no worries about it. He said, you blokes were down there in down Melbourne, the MCG. He said, yeah. He looked straight at Bacchus, he said, and what do? Do you bat or bowl? Well, that went down real well with Bacchus. I went about a great wicket keeper, all that. And then he said, no, look, I agree with Greg Chappell. Look, $33,000 is a lot of money. I guess it is to a cab driver, it really is. And he said, no, I agree with him. He said, my only disappointment is you wasted it on the New Zealanders. You should have saved it up for the Poms. Well, you can imagine Banks. Way to go. And, I mean, he was always involved in controversy, been known to have a bet too, the same guy, hasn't he, Banks? Loves a bet. Yes, it's a good deal, but a great player. A good tourist, loved the touring life, and, you know, I wish him well tomorrow. I think it'll be great.
Fantastic. Tangles, can you knock me over? Are you still good enough or not?
Well, I mean, you are hanging on the belt. It's been a while, but I think we're good enough.
What about 200 I made against you, Tangles?
Yeah, I mean, it was a cold day and the umpire wouldn't get a hand out of his pocket, would he? You're a plum. Would have missed off and leg taken middle right out of the ground. And we'll only take 3 balls tonight.
Well, the little fella's over there, our special guest over there waiting, so
Yeah.
I'll go and take guard.
All right.
Good luck, Tangles.
Can't back us. We've got him. What do you reckon, Baggers?
Well, I remember, you know, a long time ago, you got me out once, Tangle, and that was, took about 3 balls. And, you know, I'm a left-hander. He bowled me the old warm-up ball, the one that went away and the one that came back. And I mean, KG, obviously you got 200 against you, but how'd you get him the last time? Exactly the same way?
Dead set unlucky, mate.
Never has had a good memory, has he?
No, should have been out first ball, so I reckon we'll just do that.
It's been 10 years. I reckon it'll work again now.
Easy. Well, let's get into it, mate. Come on,
Okay.
let's go.
Right.
Right.
Right in the middle, big fella. Right there. Easy. Piece of cake. That's easy, big fella. This is easy. Come on, Tangles. I was within 6 inches of it, big fella. Come on.
You're not back,
Have a
mate.
look. Not a man.
What do you want Backers to do? Put the tipper back on the edge or what? Oh, you blokes are all the same.
Backers, now I wasn't even close, Backers.
KG, you've always known. I just don't appeal unless you nick it.
Like your style, mate. You've always had class and you've got it again. Not bad.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with the stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the Ritz. Dressed up like $1 million trooper, trying hard to look like Gary Cooper. Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in their midst. Putting on the Ritz. Have you seen the well-to-do up and down Park Avenue on that famous thoroughfare with their noses in the air? High hats and arrow collars, white spats and lots of dollars, spending every dime for a wonderful time. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the Ritz. Dress up like $1 million trooper, trying hard to look like Gary Cooper. Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in their midst. Putting on the Ritz.
Backers, which would you class as the best catch you've ever taken throughout your career? Now, there have been many, many great catches you've taken. Which was the best?
Well, I guess anyone I'll hang on to is
Well, it goes bang
it's a
into the
good
middle.
one, yeah.
Yeah, right.
But actually, probably standing back one from Max Walker to get Bevan Congdon in New Zealand. I think it was the second test in Auckland. and he got a lot of bat on it, and Ian Chappell might disagree because he caught him exactly the same way in a zone game some weeks earlier when he was keeping, and I was showing my prowess in the covers. But,
in the covers?
Yes, but that was possibly, you know, the best standing back and the best standing up. In fact, not many people would have ever seen it, and in fact, Rowdy probably doesn't even remember it, but in a World Cup game in 1975, Majid Khan actually swept Ashley Mellett, and by the grace of God, I caught the damn thing. And what's more, Majid walked, which is unusual.
Well, OK, let's relive, Bacchus, some of those great moments throughout your wicket-keeping career with some of those fantastic catches.
England were 19 for 1 when Lillee bowled to Lloyd.
Good. Yes, he's out. Lloyd is out.
Dinesh stayed long enough to make 52, but went the same way he's gone so often before.
And
Gregg showed more adventure than good sense.
Good. Yes, he's out.
Still more disaster for them. Collie to Edge. And this time it's Marsh who makes ground to take a good catch.
Massey again to Gregg. Keeper Marsh takes an easy catch, and Gregg's fine innings ends at 54.
Next in, Graham Gooch, who was out for a duck in the first innings. The bowler, Thompson. A pair for Gooch and England at 20 for 3. Fletcher and Gregg had added 32 when Walker bowled to Gregg. Caught behind by Marsh for 7, England at 52 for 4.
He was caught behind to give Lillee his 6th wicket and Rodney Marsh his 5th catch of the innings to equal the Test record.
It's gone. Marsh has got him the breakthrough, right, bad shot, outside off stump, Pascoe going round the wicket, and he has his reward. And he's gone. Well, Jimmy Higgs was up shouting catch it, and Rodney Marsh did the job.
And what a good start. Lillee struck coming in from the Stanley Street end. That really was a good delivery. It moved off the seam, and Gordon Greenwich couldn't do too much about it. And that's more like it. He's given Desmond Haynes out caught behind, and I think Haynes knew he was gone.
He's gone, caught behind. Charan gives Marsh his 3rd catch of the innings.
Lillee to Yashpal Sharma.
Put it back, it's gone, yes. The red colour. Dennis Murray, what a bowler.
And that's out. Brilliantly taken by Rod Marsh. Dennis Murray's 5th wicket. And a great catch by Marsh. Ends that resistance from John Lever.
Oh, what a marvellous catch. What a superb catch. He almost had no right to get back in time for that because he was going down the offside.
Yardley to Taylor.
Big shout. He's out, yes. Bat on the pad. Straight up in the air, and a big shout from Rodney Marsh. Rodney Marsh, just the stumps, he'll be out. That's very out, it is. That's a breakthrough Australia needed. Had to be a little bit slow to respond. Great piece of work from Rodney Marsh. He's been out there in the 44-degree heat. Dive forward, threw at the stumps, and the Ranger man had to depart, run out.
Well, that's the second time in this limited over series that Rodney Marsh has brought about a run-out dismissal when players have gone for a cheeky single. Once again, throwing the ball from his wicket-keeping gloves, doesn't have the same control over accuracy.
He's been given caught down the leg side. Great diving effort by Marsh. Very strong appeal.
Thompson going down the leg side. Coney attempts to flick it away, and I would say he's just got a very faint edge there.
Fraction could be out, yes. He bounces fine. Marsh does the rest. The attempted leg glance by Chris Tavares. A simple out to an ordinary delivery. He'll regret that when he gets back into the dressing room, and Marsh did the rest.
It's amazing what they've gone through. Jeff Lawson comes on one down the leg side, and Chris Tavares followed it. And Rod Marsh making it look easy as he takes it down the leg side. That's a good shout.
He's out, possibly caught. Let's say they went up for the catch. Marsh running around.
The bouncer is off the glove and he's gone, and that's Marsh has done it. That's the record. A brilliant catch by Rodney Marsh, and a fitting one for the occasion too. Rodney Marsh's 300th catch in Test cricket, and he's the first player in the history of Test cricket to reach that landmark. And what a vital one it was too. Lamb out-caught by Marsh at the bowling of Lawson. And looking pretty much in control of the whole situation this afternoon, but shorter ball from Jeff Lawson. In fact, I think a slower ball, one that this is what did Alan Lamb a glove, and Rodney Marsh, a catch that'll certainly stay in his mind. Great memory for him, that one. His 300th catch in Test cricket. Another bouncer, and is this out? Is it? It may be. It's out. It's gone. That's first ball. Miller out. First ball. Another bouncer, gloving the batsman there and skying it up. And have a look at the Australian fieldsmen. They're ecstatic. That one lobbed up in the air. Marsh had to make a few yards back. Not really very difficult, but he made no mistake. And a beautiful first up ball by Jeff Lawson, short and straight at him. Miller, who caused the Australians problems in Perth, presenting Rodney Marsh with his 301st catch. And Rodney just slipping over, losing his footing.
And that's gone in the air. Someone is under it, and it's going to be caught. Magnificently caught. What a great catch by Rodney Marsh. That is unbelievable.
Well, Bacchus, obviously one catch will stand out in your mind. That was the catch in which he caught Ian Botham back in 1981, I think it was, to break the world record. Let's have a look at that and bring back a few memories.
Lillee had found his best form by now, and Marsh needed one more scalp for a world record. Botham's wicket gave Marsh one more victim than Alan Knott.
And there it is, getting the outside edge of Ian Botham's bat, flying through to Rodney Marsh, and up goes the cherry, high into the sky, and punches the sky. Oh, very happy man. Bacchus, how were you feeling then?
I was thinking, wouldn't it have been nice if they'd all been that easy?
What about the fact that you was also off your great mate and that great fast bowler Dennis Lillee?
Yeah, actually I was a little bit dirty on him.
Why?
A couple of years earlier when he broke Lance Gibbs's record, that he got that edge to Greg Chappell. I mean, had he been any sort of a bowler, he could have got a finer edge than got from me, couldn't he? So, then again, I suppose if I'd have been any sort of a wicketkeeper, I would have poached it.
Well, of course, Rodney, you felt magnificently, but I wonder how Notty would have felt that particular occasion. What would have gone through his mind?
Well, I got the bottle of champagne from Alan Knott and a little note. He said, congratulations, Bacchus. For goodness sake, don't drop this one.
Good morning, Notty.
Ken, how are you?
I'm very well, Alan. How are you? At the moment, we're at a packed house here at the top room of the Arkrapa Hotel here in Adelaide, over 400 guests, and I'm sitting alongside the gentleman who in fact broke your world record. How did you feel at that time, Notty?
Oh, I suppose not very disappointed, but delighted for Rod. It was, if anybody had to beat the record and take it away from me, I'm pleased it was Rodney.
Notty, what about the friendly rivalry between yourself and Bacchus? Was it always there? Has it always been there?
Yes, I think playing in opposition to Rodney, I think everybody who played against him appreciated what a great competitor he was. And I think everybody would wish him well for his benefit year, because I think at Test level especially, I think it all comes down to an attitude of mind. And when Rodney came to a Test match, he always had his mind right to do his best and to try 100%. I think everybody appreciated that. But sometimes, as we heard just a minute ago, the appeals behind the wicket were very loud and sometimes aggressive, but that made Rodney, and what a great player he was.
Well, Notty, just in closing, is there any one thing you'd like to say finally to the man of the moment, Rodney William Marsh?
Yes, I think when a benefit year comes, it's a time for everybody to remember what's gone before. And I think we've seen one of the great cricketers of all time, and I think it's a marvellous opportunity for the Australian public and everybody around the world to show their thanks for Rodney and give as generously as they can in his benefit year. He's been a great example to all youngsters and to everybody in the game. I look back when I was young, I didn't watch much cricket, and so I didn't have heroes then. But as you play the game, I think you have your own heroes in today's game, and Rodney is certainly top of the list for me.
Alan, thank you for being with us on this magnificent evening, and I wish you well for the future. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ken. Good luck, Rod.
Bye, Alan. There's your old mate, Noddy. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, he's my hero, isn't he? And that's fair dinkum.
Is that right?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's the best wicketkeeper I've ever seen.
Is that right?
And yes, I mean that sincerely. He is, I said it sometime last week, I think if I could keep as well as him standing up to the stumps, I'd gladly give the game away.
Please make welcome Ian Chappell. A fierce competitor, a very aggressive cricketer, but regarded by many, many people throughout the world as the best captain this country has ever seen. Throughout his playing days, it would be fair to say that he had a love or hate relationship with the playing public. But for South Australia, he was our #1 son.
That's a great shot. Pulled away in front of square leg by Chappell. He was very quickly into position for that. And that's it. Garner trying the bouncer, and Chappell has reached 100. Goes to 101.
Ian, is it true, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you are the person that labelled our very good friend here a man with iron gloves?
I think it could be true, actually, KG. There was a fella in America, I'm not sure of his name, he was a first baseman, played baseball in America, and they called him Iron Gloves, whatever his name was, because they reckon he was the leakiest first baseman in the business. Well, the first time I ever came across Bacchus keeping for Australia, I thought that he was probably the leakiest keeper that I'd ever seen, so I figured that Iron Gloves was a pretty good tag for him. I don't think he appreciated it all that much, but I think it also probably prompted him to become a better keeper.
You mean I've been blaming the English press all this time?
Well, you blame me for everything else, Bacchus. That's the only thing you haven't blamed me for.
Well, I might as well make it a 100% record now.
Quite right.
Next question, Ken. We know how Rodney Marsh, of course, took the great fast bowling of Dennis Lillee. How did he handle those thunderbolts of Tomo? Chappell?
Well, I'd only ever faced Tomo once, I think, in 1972, and Tomo in that Shield game bowled about 2 balls in every over that were lightning fast, and the rest were leg spinners, which made life very difficult for Tabsy, who was keeping for New South Wales, apart from the fact that Tabsy also needed a motorbike to chase the ones that went wide down the leg side. And I hadn't seen him again until he was selected in the 74-5 side for the first test in Brisbane. And Western Australia had just played Queensland in a Shield game at the Gabba, and when I arrived up in Brisbane, I pulled Bacchus aside and I said, they've selected Tomo, what's he like, mate? Is he quick? And Bacchus said, mate, we have got a couple this year. We've got a couple of live ones. This fella is real quick. He said, you remember Dennis at his quickest? He said, add another half a yard and that's Tomo. And I said, well, that's pretty interesting. And especially, seeing it was the Englishman. And we got out there. I think we batted first, and we weren't long into the game. In fact, I was going to open with Lillee and Thompson, and I gave Dennis the new ball downwind, and then at the last minute there was a bit of a breeze, and I was going to open with Dennis and Maxie Walker, that's right. And at the last minute I changed my mind. I said, well, if Tomo's that quick, I might as well give him a go with a new ball. And we were only 3 or 4 overs into the game, and Tomo got one that really took off a good length, which was, you know, when he was bowling at his best, that was his calling card. And this one took off, went past the batsman, and Bacchus was, you know, a long way back, and it was still going up when it got to Bacchus, and it jumped up. And all I remember was this tremendous thump in the gloves, and Bacchus, you know, pulled it down. And
wasn't it clang?
No, it wasn't it clang. This was 74-5, mate. Yeah, this is 4 years later. There's this hell of a thump in the gloves, and Bacchus has come down. He's wringing his hand, and he said, or something like this. He said, I'm not swearing these days. It gets you into awful trouble. He came down. He said, wringing the hand. He said, "Crikey's that hurt. But I love it." And I think that summed up that season against the Poms. We'd copped a bit in 70-71 from Snowy, and I think we were out to get our own back. We might have just finished a little bit in front, I think.
And of course, Bacchus claims a great deal of success in his golfing ability. He reckons he's almost as good as his brother Graham. You've had the obviously the pleasure of playing with him. Is he that good? He was telling me today at Mount Osmond how great he is.
Well, actually, he told me a lot of things about golf, not many of them that I believed, particularly when he told me that one day he would shoot a 65. I was there when he shot 69, but he's never shot a 65 yet. I reckon he will shoot 65 if he puts the 1 wood in the bag. But the other thing that he told me was that he would be a much better golfer if Graham had never given him a lesson. And we played against Graham and Ken, Bacchus's old man, in Perth. We'd already beaten Graham once on the golf course, which we...
It's not hard.
No, it's not hard. We found that out. And which we'd never ever let him forget.
Is his money good?
I think he paid, yeah. He's a bit stingy when it comes to handicaps, but he pays when you beat him. But we came up against Graham and Ken, and I think after 16 we're 1 up.
Is that all?
We're only 1 up. I think we were going a bit easy on him at that stage. Yeah. And so Graham is obviously a bit desperate, you know, he doesn't want to go down for the second time against us, so he starts giving Bacchus a lesson, and that didn't work, going down the 17th, because we halved that hole. So we're still 1 up, going down 18, and Bacchus has hit a good drive. I think he might have even slipped it a bit past Graham, which was, you know, obviously very annoying to him. And Graham took off at the run, and he was a good 20-30 yards in front of us when he got to where the balls were lying. And Bacchus has come to play his second shot, and there's only about 1/4 of an inch of his ball sticking up above the ground. And Graham has gone there and grounded into the dirt with his heel. And that didn't make a lot of difference. I think we did manage to get it dropped, didn't we? And halve that hole and finished 1 up.
So it was a par 5 and the second shot didn't count anyway, really.
that was just a chip shot.
Is he always so bashful as that?
Well, as I said, he told me one day, he said, I will shoot, someday on the golf course I will shoot 65. And I said, yeah, that's fine, but what will you do for the second night? But I reckon if he does put the 1 wood in the bag, you never know, he might shoot 65.
Fellas, also on that tour to England in 1972, I was amazed when I heard it, but you did in fact record a song, an Australian cricket team with people like Ashley Mellon, Bacchus and Chappell.
You weren't half as amazed as I was when I heard it. I was there at 3 o'clock in the morning when we recorded it.
Okay, well, let's hear part of that song now that was recorded by the 1972 Australian side whilst in England. Actually, I didn't recognise some of those photographs. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you can put them away again if you like and not show them for another 20 years.
Ian, thanks for being with us on this very prestigious evening for your very good friend Rodney Marsh, and I know that you've said many times he's the greatest wicketkeeper you've played with, and I do thank you for your time.
Mate, just one further thing that I would like to say, sure. And I think the thing that I admire most about Rodney Marsh is the fact that he's a very proud Australian. Mate, great. It's been great playing with him. Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Chappell, back with more and Rodney Marsh shortly. How difficult has it been for Ros since you've been playing international and first-class cricket?
Oh, well, I guess it's been very difficult. You know, we don't spend a lot of time at home, but I will say this, that when I am at home in Perth, I am at home. I don't drink in the pubs unless I've got a real good reason. And, you know, I don't spend a lot of time away from home. You know, since I've stopped work full-time, it's been great that I've probably spent a number of hours babysitting and being home when I've got nothing else to do, which is, you know, when I say nothing else to do, that's either golf or cricket.
Well, Rod, if Ros was here, what would you say to her?
I'd say, what the hell are you doing here?
On that particular point, why don't we make welcome Mrs. Ros Marsh? And ladies and gentlemen, that is a surprise. Ros, it's lovely to have you along on this wonderful night.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes, Bacchus.
What the hell are you doing here?
Aren't we sneaky? Ros, what's it been like all these years married to Australia's and in fact the world's leading wicketkeeper?
Well, two sides to it. A lot of pride and pleasure. A lot of hours and weeks and months of Rod being away and coping by myself, but overall I wouldn't change it. It's, you know, it has been an enjoyable time.
What about the three boys? Obviously they've enjoyed Dad's involvement in the game of cricket. They must love it.
Yes, the older two are cricket mad and they go along to watch all the games. Now they really haven't had much choice because whenever there's a game on, we go, and if it's on the television, they watch it. And even our youngest, 5-year-old, he's had a bat in his hand from pretty early
Is he
age.
left-handed like his dad or not, Ross?
She doesn't know the difference between left and right handed.
Well, what about the future? Obviously you look forward to a wonderful future, and you'd like Rod to continue playing as long as he possibly can?
No.
Well, Ross, thank you for joining us. And of course, our good friend DK Lillee has got a... Isn't that lovely? Oh. Do you mind your sparring partner having a lovely sort of kiss with your wife?
No, not at all.
You don't mind? Oh, that's terrific. Well, Ross, thanks for coming over. And Bacchus, congratulations. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and I certainly hope that the people of South Australia have showed their appreciation of your performances on the cricket ground. They've been absolutely magnificent. You are a great Australian, and I think that all of us should be proud to know you, to have seen you perform on the cricket ground, and know full well that you've represented this country, our country, Australia, with a great deal of pride. To Ros and Rod Marsh, I wish you well for the coming summer. Let's hope it is plenty of thunder down under, and may we see Rodney Marsh taking many more of those spectacular catches for Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Keep on going with all your might. Try hard, don't stop. Gotta keep on giving it all you got. Never give up, never say die. Believe that I can reach the top. Gotta give it a shot, don't say no. Gotta get in the flow. So don't hide, go seek, don't run away, get back on your feet. Get out, get up, get on, get moving out, and don't surrender.